Hi, ladies. I'm coming to you for an impromptu live here. So I just got off actually a message with another person, and it kind of got me fired up to come on live and just to chat with you real quick. Yes, you love my hat. I just got it recently, antiquing. It says I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. It's my favorite verse out of Philippians, and so I know I look like a fashion plate today. We've been working in the yard. We're trying to just get it cleaned up for the spring. We've had a lot of heavy winds here, and they've been really crazy. So we've got shingles down. We've got, oh my gosh, tree branches and tables and chairs. They just went all crazy, and it's supposed to get windy here again. We're talking like 50 plus mile an hour. We're on top of a hill. So when we get these gale winds, even the chickens go flying. The chickens and ducks, and they go flying. But yeah, so we're trying to batten down the hatches, clean up a little bit. So excuse my appearance. So I'm coming on to you today. So how long does it take to recover from abuse? Now, I once heard from a gal that was a codependent partner and with somebody that would suffer from alcoholism. And she said, again, this is secondhand, but she said she was informed that however many years that you were in that relationship with this person, half of that time will take you to start recovering. Now, not that you won't get, that you're totally healed. Let's say that you will never forget what you experienced. You'll never forget the emotions. You'll never forget the different situations, but you will heal. And I know it sounds really rough right now, especially for those that are still in it or those that just made that leap of faith to get out. So, I know that sounds pretty rough. So as an example, I was in it for, about 25 years. And so half of that time it'll take me to fully recover. And again, it's going to be something that stays with you. I've chatted with people that had experience abuse as a child, and they're in their 60s and 70s now, and for them it's still pretty fresh. Even though they have been out of that relationship for many years, it's still pretty fresh. But you will get to the point where it's not such a weight on your shoulders, because right now it's probably heavy. You probably have the tension in your neck. You might have butterflies in your stomach, even for me just talking about it right now. But I want you to know it does get better. Again, I'm 10 years out, and I think it's Pamela on here that's been out a little bit longer than I have. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but Pamela, you can jump on here and let me know. And if any of you other survivors have been out for many other years, I think there's 2 others on here too that have been out for a while, but they can probably verify with me and support me when I say that you never really will get those memories out of your head, but you'll get that voice out of your head, that voice that tells you you're worthless, that you're useless, that you can't do this, that you can't do that. You will get that voice out of your head. You really will. Of course, then you have your inner chatter to just contend with, but you can do it. I know you can, and I believe in you, and you got this. But kind of squishing down that chatter from your ex, that can be really hard. And again, I've shared different techniques using the rubber band anytime you start really feeling down about yourself or hearing that voice in your head. I shared with Melissa recently, when I was in counseling, a counselor had told me, anytime you hear your partner's voice in your head, what you do is you think of that voice as a cartoon voice, or maybe a comedian, not necessarily someone that you like, maybe Mickey Mouse's voice, or Donald Duck's voice, but think of that person's voice in that comical cartoon. It might even be Bart Simpson, but think of that person in that, using that voice, and speed it up, and then speed that conversation down, because I know you can recall many incidents, and I know for myself, I can do this, many incidents from the past, and I can remember the conversation, I can remember the words we had, but think of those words, think of that conversation again. If you start thinking of it more in a comical sense, it might actually make you laugh, and it might take you a few times to have that work. But try it. It does work, and it does seem a little silly at first. And I can even look back on some situations, even though they were really pretty cruddy, and I can look at those conversations that we had in the past, and I can now laugh at them, or I can see a little bit of humor. Well, he wanted me to do this. Why would he want me to do this, that, or the other? And it just seems silly, or it might even make me really giggle right now And I know that it sounds really weird, whatever position that you are, because the abuse isn't funny at all. But once you jump out of it, you definitely can see the light and how funny certain situations were. And I know that sounds really odd right now, but if you're just jumping in or out of it, or you haven't jumped out of it yet, you're like, girl, I am not going to be laughing. But you will find humor in different things that you might have experienced. Now, I'm not talking the down and dirty stuff, but there might be incidents where he called you, my ex used to call me a sausage. What the heck is that? I mean, honestly. Now, I mean, before I was really hurt, but now I think to myself, he called me a sausage. Is that the best thing he's got? Okay, Italian sausage right here. But I mean, it's silly, but now I can laugh about certain things. And you might not feel like laughing right now, and I get that and I understand, and I'm not making light of any of this, but I'm trying to give you some tools to help you on your journey. And I just want you to, hi, Michelle. Hey, girl, I just want to help you in whatever way I can do so. If it's to bring a little light to this, that is awesome. And if this can help you by finding a little bit of brightness, by thinking of your partner's or your ex's voice in a cartoon voice, then please think of it, try it out. It doesn't hurt to try this. And, you don't even have to share with your partner that, hey, in my head, I'm thinking of you as Elmer Fudd, or I'm thinking of you as Daisy Duck. They don't even have to know. You could inwardly, secretly smile. They don't have to know that. Well, thank you. It is. My husband, Mr. Awesome, is off, and we're doing cleanup outside. So I had just mentioned earlier, please excuse my appearance. And so we're doing some cleanup right now. Hey, Jen. And so that's what I was coming on for, just to let you know that it does take a while to recover from abuse. And I'll share with you, ladies, that you're just jumping on. It does take a while. About half the time that you were in that abusive relationship, that's about how much it takes you to heal from that. So if you were in it for 5 years, it might take you 2.5 to start feeling really, really, really good. If you were in it 10 years, it'll take you 5 years. So if you can get the gist of that. So it does take some time. It takes work. So what I mean by work is, if you have just gotten out of that relationship, you are still wearing your pajamas and it's the afternoon, if you haven't made your bed, if you haven't even brushed your teeth or showered in a week, I get that, I understand, but there comes a point where you do need to help yourself a little bit and to kick that ex to the curb, the thoughts that are in your head, and you need to bring yourself to a point where you can shower, where you can get out of bed, where you can drag yourself away from Netflix, quit binging on the sad songs and the bad movies, get out into the sun, and maybe read some empowerment books. That's been very important to me. My self-help, my self-healing has been helped by that. Yes, girl, you got it. Michelle, you are right. And that helps by doing things that are positive. Surrounding yourself with positive people has been so important in my healing. And that might mean you have to delete friends off of your social media. It might mean that you can't hang out with certain people because they are just so, they're so down. They might say things that hurt your feelings and you still hang out with them. They are just very, what they call, toxic to you. And you know that by going around certain people, they just might make your inward spidey senses feel really, really off, and you dread when they come over, or you dread hanging out with them. You just might have to sever that and cut that cord, because that's good for you. And speaking of cord cutting, I've mentioned this in my book, if you guys have read that, The Rising from the Ashes, cord cutting. And I know some of this stuff sounds really new agey, but we have a lot of energy. If you've met somebody, you've given them a hug, you shake their hand, and you just kind of feel icky, we pick up energy from people. And there's studies on this across the board. Now, you might have those past traumas from your ex. Cord cutting is very important, and I'm just going to give you the Cliff Note version here. So what you're going to do, and what the heck is cord cutting, is imagine like all these cords, all this yarn or string coming off of your body, and I might be attaching to your ex, or again, those toxic people. So what you're going to do is you're going to take let's say you have a sword from the Lord. Yes. You're going to take a sword from God, or whatever you believe in, and you are going to take that cord. Let's pretend that this is a cord here, and it kind of is. So this is my headphones. We're going to take that cord, and let's say it's attached right here or to your heart, and you're going to take that fiery sword, and you're just imagining this in your head. Let's say God's fiery sword there, and you're going to take that, and you're just going to cut it, and you're going to do it with some force. You're going to cut it. You could do this in your mind, or you could physically do it, or you could pretend like you have scissors and cut that cord. Think of this person that has hurt you or that just gives you the heebie-jeebies, and cut that. Just go around. And, I know I do that sometimes. I will just, pretend like I have one hanging off my back, and I'll just cut that. And that has been very freeing too. And again, I know this stuff sounds odd, but it's been very freeing. You could say a prayer while you're doing this. Say, Lord, give me strength, and just keep cutting around your body. Anytime you feel icky, I could go deeper into this because it is pretty deep. But that's like I said, a small version of that. You can look up YouTube's on cord cutting. Christy Robinette, who's one of my besties, she has a great video on that. But go ahead and literally pray. Ask for God to shine through you and cut that cord. Now, it's been very freeing for me to do that. And anytime I feel like I have just been bogged down by somebody, or again, if I have some sort of interaction with my ex, I just go ahead and I snip that again. And severing that cord is breaking that connection between you and that person. Have you ever thought of a person and they call all of a sudden? Have you ever thought about your ex and then all of a sudden you have problems with your ex? Yeah, it's kind of like that. So just nip that in the bud. Just cut that connection that you have with that person. Not saying that they still won't try. So that's when you go ahead and you ask for God, hey, you plead the blood of Christ if you need to over yourself. And I'm not saying that in a joking manner, because a lot of this is evil. And I know it sounds a little strange, might sound woo-woo for people, but I've shared this with a few people here, and I might have some people that leave the group, but there were times I didn't recognize my ex when we were still together. I couldn't recognize him because his face just totally changed. He didn't have the same look. He had blue eyes, but yet his eyes darkened to where they were almost black. And I know I'm going to the supernatural side here, because there was a lot of, and I'm putting myself out there and being honest, guys, there was a lot of supernatural activity that happened in our relationship, and that had to do with more of, I'm going to say demonic energies and dynamic episodes. And I know it sounds really strange. I know it sounds really odd for some people, especially if you're not rooted in a religion or your beliefs have any kind of spiritual basis in it, but it did happen. So throwing it out there, like I said, I don't hold anything back. I didn't throw a lot of that in the book because it might seem a little weird. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Yes, please cut those cords. And I might even share a video here, YouTube, from Miss Christie, because she's amazing. She's got some great ideas. She's also an abuse survivor herself, and she helped me a great deal on my journey. But I know it sounds weird. Guys, again, if you need to pray over that person, think of yourself in a lighted bubble, a white or pink for loving, a blue calming bubble, whatever it is to help bring you peace. If you still have to interact with that person, try and pray for that person. And I know that sounds weird. I still pray for my ex. Not that I want to break bread with him. I don't want to have him over for Christmas. But I still pray for him, and I pray that when he gets saved, but also for whatever demons he has attached to him, that he's able to find peace, and he's able to bring that into his life for his relationships going forward. And so I honestly believe that. Now, when I found out that he molested my daughter, I did not feel that way at all. I was thinking other things about knocking on his door in the middle of the night with a shotgun. I'll be honest with you, I was. And it took a lot of prayer, and it took a lot of meditation for me to get to the point where it's like, you know what, I have to give this to God again. I have to. I can't take it back. I've got to give it to him. I've got to let him sort it out and deal with him. But also to help, I was praying. It's like I still pray for him, like, Lord, pray for him, pray for his family. And my son's still with him. So I do pray a lot because I want him safe. Even though we don't have a good relationship, I'm still praying for that because I know God, he's amazing. He could do it all. I mean, he can do it. He created this world. And so I know I'm just leaving it in his hands to go ahead and deal with them. So again, to answer the question, how long does it take? It does take a while. It takes some hard work. read those help books, go ahead and start watching more positive movies, maybe listen to some positive music. I do a lot of classical music. I might do some praise music, just something more uplifting and positive. I get outside. Getting outside, especially now that we finally have spring, yay, is amazing. Get out in the sun, kick off your shoes and ground yourself. I know it's a little chilly right now, but do that. The earth connection with your body is amazing. It can help heal your body as well. Again, I know it's a little woo-woo, but there is a lot of science that does explain all this, all the electrical stuff with your body. And I'm not getting into that right now, but it's amazing things that God created that we could take advantage of. And it doesn't cost a thing to kick off your shoes. It doesn't cost a thing to go walk outside. It's not going to cost you any money to bring in some flowers from your garden. And just for yourself, do something for yourself that your future self is going to love. And I guarantee you, you will. And let's say it's baby steps now, but you'll be running, I'm telling you, in about 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years, you are just going to be running up that hill, because right now you're in the valley, but girl, you will be up on top of that hill shouting, and you'll be just wanting to praise and just shout to the world that you're healed, that you are so much better than you are right now. But again, it takes work. It takes hard work. If I would have heard this a couple of years ago, well, let's go back. If I would have heard this when I first left, I probably wouldn't have believed it too much. I probably wouldn't have believed I wanted the healing a lot quicker. And it takes a while. You need to have patience. You do need to have patience. I'm always there if you need to talk. If you need to call me, my phone number I think is in one of the announcements. If we could do a video chat, I'm happy with doing that. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a counselor, but I've been there. I've been to the other side, and I know what you're going through. Now, I don't have the exact situation that you did, and vice versa, but I can relate to a lot of the feelings that you're going through, a lot of the emotions that you're going through, and I'm here to help. And I do this because I know what it's like. I get that, and I understand. I get what you're going through, and I'm here to listen. Even if you might want to tell me, well, I am not, hi Sharon, even if you tell me that, you know what, I can't do that because, or I can't leave because of this, and this, or I can't do this because this, and this. That's fine. I still support you. I can't tell you to leave. I can't make you leave. I'm not going to tell you, well, you need to leave him now. I can't, because this isn't your time. Each of us on here have attempted to leave some sort of toxic relationship or are abusers more than once. The statistics are, I believe it's 7 times for like a intimate partner type of thing. You might not have had a choice as a child to be released from your parents if that was toxic, or to be released from maybe it was some other thing that was tying you and you couldn't leave. Maybe it's a coworker, your boss at work, and you need the job, so you have to stay. But whatever it is, you will get there. You'll get to that finish line. I promise you it's going to be great. It is going to be glorious. But again, put the time in. Put the time in to better yourself. Journal. Go ahead and chat with somebody. Use this forum if you need to just get off some stuff off your chest. And even if you don't get any feedback from that, it's out there. It's out in the world. You've said it. Your comment might not generate a lot of comments and feedback, but you might actually help somebody, and you don't know if you might make an impression on somebody, and they'll need to reach out to you at a later time. So I'm also going to say, ladies, please do me a favor and reach out to one another, friend each other. Yeah, Bobby, you're exactly. But yes, please. Yes, Michelle, we are all survivors. It is. So if you are at my gosh, if you feel like you're at the end of your rope, you don't know where to turn, just drop a line in here, reach out to somebody in the group. It doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody. Michelle has had an amazing story herself, and she is like, oh my gosh, she is like a warrior woman. She really is. And I'm sure she would, get a lot of information from Michelle herself. And there's so many others on here that have so much information to give, so much comments, so many great reflections. So please use this group. This is not just for me, this is for you too. So use the group as much as you can. Any books that you want to share, any music that you want to share, please do that. Maybe YouTube videos from others, please do that. And somebody actually shared a video with me on Messenger recently, and I reached out to the gal that's running the podcast. So I'm hoping to have her on so we could talk about her story. She suffered from emotional abuse, but it's all connecting. Let's go ahead. We are a community here. Let's see what we can do for one another. Again, make some comments, suggestions, anything you want to talk about, you are welcome, girl. Anything you guys want to talk about, that topic that you want me to hit, I'm happy to do so. I'd like to hit somebody about, I shouldn't say hit, domestic abuse survivor or relationship thing. I want to target like someone that's had the financial abuse, and also what tips they can bring us. So I did reach out to the Dave Ramsey group, but I think you got to pay for that. I don't know, but I reached out. Maybe they could send us some tips that I could share here. I'm not quite sure. But if there's somebody that you know that might benefit from the group, or they has maybe some great tips that you viewed, let me know. I'll reach out to them and see if we can have them on here live. I would love to do that. And whatever I can do to help you guys out. Again, you don't have to listen to me yammer on all the time. You can hear from somebody else. I think that's great. Like we had Helena on here not that long ago. And I'd love to have anybody else that you would suggest. I've kind of made a pact with myself to get out of my comfort zone by reaching out to people at least twice a month to share my story, or to have here somebody that, I wouldn't normally, because normally I wouldn't do this. I mean, this is all new to me. I wouldn't normally do this. I consider me not really an extrovert, but not really an introvert. So, I want to help you guys the best way I can. And hi, ladies. Hello, Elizabeth. So however I can help you, please let me know. If you have any comments, again, suggestions, anything you're struggling with, please let me know. You can telephone me. You could send me a message privately. You can email me, however you need to. Again, share it with the group, because there might be some great pearls of wisdom that many of our group members can share. Group members. And we're here, we're a community. All of us do have, unfortunately, this abuse thing that we have a commonality for. So I'm sad to say, but again, abuse, how long does it take to recover? I'll rehash it real quick for you two ladies, that it takes about half the time that you were in that abusive relationship. So if you were in it for 5 years, it's going to take you 2.5. If you're in it for 20 years, it'll take you about 10 years to get now. Not that you'll be totally healed. You'll have those memories. You'll have still a lot of the, maybe the emotions that go along with those memories there, but it will get better. It won't be to the point where you are now. Then some of you are just getting out of that relationship. We're still in it. So it won't be as raw as it is right now. You will get through it. I promise you. I promise you. Now, before I take off, oh my goodness. You know what? I hear you. When I left, my ex left the house in foreclosure. We filed bankruptcy. We filed bankruptcy when I left. So I totally get that. And that's mine is horrible. I've gotten one card and I recently closed it because I didn't like the balance on there and I didn't like having it open. And, but I'm lucky if I'll get another one, and that's okay. That's okay. But, it's terrible. I get that. I get that. And rebuilding that, and someone shared doing the Dave Ramsey thing. I might have to get the books myself. Because I need to do that. I need to rebuild that credit in case we need something. Maybe I need a car or something. I mean, right now we just buy, if we can, we'll save up and buy with cash, but that's important. And it's so hard to get that credit rating back up. And I shared that Susie Orman, I don't know how to say her name, but Susie, I think that's what it is. And a little financial sheet she had, but I like the one that I shared just recently from the bank. And that gave a lot of great detail too. And I know I had another gal that I was going to talk finances with. I'm hoping to chat with her again so she can share some pearls of wisdom with us, because that would be great. So, and again, if you need to chat with me, you can do that privately. Before I take off, did you guys have anything else you wanted me to cover? Any other questions? Anything for future lives? I'd be happy to hear about that, or any books or any other things that you might have heard of. Hi, Mallory. I could share that too in future broadcasts. I know everyone's sitting there thinking right now. And as I explained at the beginning of the broadcast here, I am dressed in these awesome duds. And this is a new hat, by the way, because we are working out on the yard. Oh, girl, you are welcome. You are welcome. And you know what? It's just that the Lord kind of just nudged me and put this on my heart to do. And, because honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to tell anybody all this. Honestly, there was like so much shame in that, and just getting it out there. And I didn't want to feel stupid, or, people to think, wow, what's a dumb woman for staying with that guy for so long. And in my back of my mind, I was like, no, I can't tell people about this. But God really impressed on my heart that this is what I want you to do. And I would much rather have some kind of glamorous job doing something else and, say that, oh, we're in Disney right now. But no, this is what the Lord's called me to do. And so I finally stopped running from him and said, okay, I will do it. I will do this. Yes, I will do this. And not realizing at how many others were trapped, how many others were living silently in an abusive relationship. I had no idea. I mean, I knew that other people were out there, but I had no idea. Oh, it'll let you rewatch it when I'm done flapping my gums there, ma'am. Unfortunately, I will go ahead and I'll stop talking soon, but and then you can rewatch it. But I was chatting that it takes about half the time that you're in a relationship with that person to get healed from that abuse. So if you were in it for 10 years, half that time would be 5 years. And like I had shared, it's not going to be that you will totally get over it. You'll still have those memories. You might still have those emotions, but it won't be as raw and as devastating as it was when you first left. It really does. And yes, Michelle, they do. And we do need to find our voices. And I know the more of us that actually, and you are really good at sharing too, your information and I applaud you. Anytime I see something from you and you're talking about your ex or even your daughter, I mean, that just gave me chills. And Michelle, you are just amazing. Like I said, you're just warrior woman, just like She-Ra. So, yes, that is right. We do need to speak up more. And it doesn't have to be just me and just you all sharing your stories. I think that's marvelous and so brave of you. And I'm so proud of you. I really am. I am very proud of you. All right, girls, I'm going to shut this off. And then you can watch the rebroadcast as soon as I'm done. It usually takes about 5 minutes to watch it again. But again, if you have any questions, any comments, anything for a future broadcast, maybe a topic you want to hit, please let me know. Put your message in the comments or send me a message privately. Again, my phone number is on one of the announcements if you need to talk. We can also do a video chat via Facebook Messenger. So just let me know if you want to chat. I'm happy to do that one-on-one. Even if you just want to talk about the weather, I don't care. That's fine. Whatever you want to chat about, we can do that. All right, girls, I'm going to let you go. You feel free to chat within yourself, too. You can do that. And yes, at least 20 years, girl. At least 20 years. And I know I had the experience that when I was 4 years old and for many, many years with my stepdad. So no. Yeah, it takes some time. It takes some time. It really does. So, I mean, I'm at 10 years. I'm going to, and you know what, for me, honestly, even though my stepdad did what he did, for some reason, that's not as devastating as my ex. Now, I don't know quite why that is. There are many memories that I don't have from my stepdad and my childhood, but I think that's because of the abuse. I think I kind of just blanked it out. And you're doing your oh, what is it, the EMDR? No, what is it that you're doing? I can't remember, Melissa, what you're doing off the top of my head, but I know what you're doing. That should help you get rid of a lot of those memories. And I'm not sure if those modalities would also help heal faster. I mean, I had a counselor for a little bit of time. I had about 3 of them, I think I went through. And with my last counselor, I wasn't getting a lot out of that. So I stopped going. EMDR, okay, I was right. Might have said it wrong, but yes, okay. So you might actually be healed a lot quicker than myself. And how is that going for you? Because I know you had a session or a couple. Now, I've shared the EMDR, a little bit of information about that. Helena actually had mentioned that when she was on as a guest, and that's something I really hadn't checked into. I know I've done a little bit of tapping. Now, tapping is what you do. You say a statement, and you tap certain parts of your body, like this and here, and I think you can even do your wrist, and you're saying certain negative comments to yourself like, I know I am unworthy, or something like that. And you say these comments and then you change it around so it's a positive comment for yourself. There are plenty of YouTubes on there. I can share some of that too. So tapping is something you could do at home. There's a great many videos on there. One session? Okay, okay. Yeah, because I'd love to hear more about that and how that goes. I really would, because it might be something I might check into to do myself. Any types of healing that work that you're doing, and not just yourself, Melissa, but anybody, please let us know how that's going. Hi, Pamela. Yeah, please let us know how that's going. And all right, you're going Wednesday. Great, great. Oh, good. And I'm really happy that you're going. I am so proud of you. You've come so far. You really have. Really have. I'm so proud of you. Yes, yes, yay. Yes, let us know how it's going, because I'd love to hear. And again, whatever other healing techniques anybody else is using, please leave them here. I'd love to hear it. And Pamela, I was just sharing with the gals here that I learned from a friend that was actually codependent. Her husband was an alcoholic. When she talked with their person, he had told her that however long that she was in that relationship with her spouse, that is how long, and when he stopped doing his recovery, or when he stopped drinking, that's how long it would take for her to heal from that relationship, from that, because they did split up. So she was in the relationship, I think at the time, for about 12 years. So about 6 of those years, she was dealing with the recovery of that. And of course, she's a lot better now, but it took her about 6 years to heal from that relationship. Now that works. I did ask another counselor that I had, if that's something similar, and she said yes, because there is a codependency that does come with abuse, and we could chat about that another time. But so half of the time, however long, and I know you've dealt with that quite a long time yourself, dealing with toxic people and family and so on. So it does take a while, but again, it's work, ladies. It takes work, and you might not feel like maybe putting on that self-help CD or that book, or even listen to that YouTube, somebody's positive on there. You might not feel like it, but your future self will thank you for it. And please do take whatever time you have that's free. Maybe you're on your way to work. Pop in a CD or download a podcast of somebody that's positive, inspirational, a Tony Robbins, or let's see, some Priscilla Shearer, or somebody that just gets you motivated, somebody that gets you going, and maybe thinking out of the box. And it might not even be a person that you normally would listen to, but some of those people really have, especially the motivational speakers, they might have these golden nuggets. They might not be a Christian, but they have these golden nuggets that you'll be like, huh, really? And you can apply those. And something simple, like right now, I'm reading about what successful people do during the day, before 5 a.m. That's what it is. And one of those things is, of course, getting up. This is in no particular order. So they're getting up, they're exercising, they're praying, they're meditating, they're reading a book, and it's more so something like an autobiography, something self-help, something that'll help them in their business or their relationships. And they're also they're reading, they're reading, and there's one more thing that I forgot what they're doing. Did I say exercise? There is another thing that they do before 5 a.m. But they're doing something for themselves. They're doing something to better themselves. Oh, journal. Journaling is important. Again, it doesn't have to be your experiences. You just sit there with your journal, and you might even want to pay for a fancy one, because that might motivate you a little bit more to do that journal work. But do that journaling. That's really been a lifesaver for me. Right now, I'm not so much doing it on my day-to-day thing of writing, oh, today we worked in the yard. I might not write about that. I might just let my pen flow, and not like an automatic writing thing. I just kind of let the words come out, let my story come out however it wants to. And if it wants to talk about pizza or whatever else, I just let it go. And you might be amazed about what you see come out. And it's kind of like going inside of yourself and asking yourself, okay, and you can even meditate this, read maybe a couple verses, and okay, Lord, what does this mean? I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What does that mean? And just journal it as you're writing it down, and of course, pray before you start. I always try and pray, just to ask for guidance and light and love to come through whatever God's speaking to me about, and also to bind up whatever dumb and stupid spirits are hanging around that aren't letting me concentrate on the word. But I'm just rambling on, ladies. I'm going to let you go so those that need to watch a replay can. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, ideas for future broadcasts, let me know. I'm going to let you go. I have to go check out Mr. Awesome and see what we're doing outside. I love you. Stay safe, and I will talk to you later.